Hello, Aldwyn, Altuney here, and I am at the Block Conscious Summit here in Brisbane, and I have with me Warren Black, who is a crypto tax specialist who I saw many years ago doing tax events around the country, and here he is. He's come all the way from Perth, and he's going to be sharing some wisdom on how to stop the taxman from hacking your crypto wallets. Hello, Warren. Great to see you.
Hi, Aldwyn. I'm great, yeah.
That was an awesome talk you just did. We had quite a few hundred people there, I would say, in the audience. It was packed, and they absolutely loved you. A lot of people talking about how great you were and how different you are, I guess, to traditional accountants and lawyers out there. So can you give us just a bit of background on your history?
Yeah, sure. Good to be different. Oh, look, very simply, I used to work for the ATO for 10 years, and now I'm working for the light, and I've left the dark to come to the light, as I tell people. I'm not actually a lawyer anymore. I used to be. Now I just really am a tax specialist with cryptos and sovereignty and non-residency, and really helping people just minimise their taxes, basically, because right now, I'm sure many have seen the media, the taxman is coming. They've made it very clear. So it's really part of my job to help people prepare and structure themselves properly and make sure they're not going to get their wallets plundered and raided and hacked into.
And why is it so important now for people to start looking at cryptocurrency as an alternative to traditional banking?
Oh, look, I think that right now with cryptos, it's a really good time on a couple of things. I think number one, tax-wise, I'll just quickly mention, with the current bear market, there's no better time to structure right now and get yourself sorted where you don't have big gains or problems to deal with. In terms of why cryptos rather than traditional banking, look, I see traditional banking a bit like the taxi industry. The taxi industry for years ignored the concerns of their clients. I mean, we all have stories like trying to get taxis, they wouldn't give you a committed time, horrible service. I mean, Uber turns up and just like that, the taxis are complaining, they're arguing, they're saying, how dare this unregulated kid come on the block? But the fact is, the taxi industry brought it on themselves. They just continue to not listen to their customers' needs, and Uber turned up, had an app, gave you a time estimate, and you could follow them. I see cryptos are the same. I mean, the banking have just ignored their customers, treated them appallingly, give fees, horribly low interest rates. They basically, treat your money really, really badly. They don't give you decent rates, loans. They make it hard, and just like that, a new kid's come on the block who's unregulated. They're screaming blue murder, but the fact is, cryptos are offering a private, encrypted thing. The banks who just caved in and gave all the information to the government and the Austrac, cryptos have turned up, giving privacy, giving encryption, giving people back their sovereignty, and giving a much simpler way. Very simple example. To wire money from Australia to Hong Kong, it's a
Yep, we're back on, okay. Yes, so wire money to Hong Kong, you were saying?
Yeah, because wiring money to Hong Kong, it's like, it could be like a day or two, and even then it gets rejected because you put in one wrong code. Bitcoin, you can, even Bitcoin, 10, 15 minutes, the money's with someone else. I had a client pay me in Bitcoin, 5 minutes later, the money's in my account, Whereas a credit card merchant, it doesn't come in until the next day, or even the day after that, something with some banks. The wires can take 2, 3, 4 days. They'll charge you $35 wire fees and with poor service. So, and cryptos will only get better. They're still young. I mean, the day will come when you'll just walk up, pay for things by picking up your phone and going ding, and it'll just pay on the spot. Fees will get lower and lower. I just see cryptos will just eat the banks up, and with more and more private solutions, people slap it up.
Excellent. Now, there's over 1,600 cryptocurrencies out there, which can be a real minefield for someone who doesn't know anything about this space. So what's a good way for people to start who know nothing about this and just want to get started?
It's a hard question. I think it's like anything. You just got to go simple. Like, I think number one, I love what Warren Buffett says, don't do something you don't understand. So I think you should get some basic education in cryptos and understand how it works, number one. Number two, I always think start simple, like buying Bitcoin or buying, something like Bitcoin's a good starting point because it's simple, everyone knows it. The risk is lower because if Bitcoin drops from say 7,000 to 6,000, you've lost 16%, but it's really minor. Whereas if you buy an altcoin, which is say 20 cents, and drops to 3 cents, which is common, you're 85% wiped out. So I think just on a practical thing, one, get educated, and two, start simple and build up. That's my suggestion.
Fantastic. And how do you help people with what you do?
A couple of things. I help people to structure themselves correctly. to minimise tax. The big thing, most of my clients who come to me really now are higher, people who are high net worth or crypto, or even just normal cryptos who foresee a lot of money and who are just or potential miners, and they just want to move. And they come to me to either structure correctly in Australia, or probably more like 90% of people now. They say, look, Warren, I'll go offshore, I'll move to Malta, I'll move to Thailand, I'll move to wherever. And I help people get residency offshore, so they do it properly, because the tax office have pretty strict criteria. And you just simply going offshore for more than 183 days does not work, contrary to common myths. You've got to actually sever your residency, you've got to actually sever it, you've got to get yourself a genuine residence offshore with a place to live in, and get rid of your place in Australia and your car and all that kind of stuff. So I really just help people become sovereign and do that. And if they stay in Australia, just structure themselves to minimise their taxes.
Now, I heard if you live overseas and you have property in Australia, that you can be paying up to 3 times more land tax than an Australian resident. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you've got to weigh those things up, and you pay more capital gains tax and you pay more income tax, so you're paying more taxes if you're non-resident, for sure, on the things you do have in Australia, but you don't pay taxes on your investments or business income offshore.
Right, so there's always a catch there somewhere, it says, isn't the ATO have got their hand in there. Okay, and what are some final tips for people to avoid the taxman taking all their money?
Well, basically, the biggest tip is don't leave. Most people have just got their money in exchange in their own name. I mean, you're basically asking 48.5% tax. So, and most exchanges don't let you open a trust or company or structure name. So the biggest thing is do something about it. There are ways, we can help people with paperwork. Crypto Tax Renegade is my Facebook group, which people can go. So Crypto Tax Renegades, find it, they can join the group. And we have, regular trainings and recordings and free stuff that we give out around that, and as well as being able to help people who want more specialised, personalised advice. But yeah, we can help people with packages and structures and that, so they can actually effectively move their cryptos from their own name into a structure, so they're not going to be paying 48.5% tax. So it's the biggest tip, is do something about it. Don't just leave it in your own name on exchange with nothing else.
And I must say, I can't help but feeling a little bit ripped off with how the system is, and how I really feel like I've been a pawn in the system all these years, that at any moment the government or the banks can just dip into your money and just take some of your super, and it just really upsets me and angers me, actually. And so to see this whole crypto, becoming as big as it is, it's a packed conference here, and people have come from all over the world, all over Australia, to be at this particular summit here, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger as people get more awareness around it. So I think things like we're at today, this crypto or block conscious summit is really fantastic to help wake people up to what is happening out there. And for some of the people maybe watching this who are non-believers, who find it hard to believe that their money is not safe in the banks, what do you say to them?
Well,
their money is safe. They believe their money is safe in the banks. Yeah, look, we're living in a new world. I mean, things are changing, and people thought their jobs were safe when the Industrial Revolution came in. People thought that having an offline business thought they were safe, and then the online dwarfed it. Kodak thought they were safe, and then digital cameras came and put them out. Change is inevitable, and the reality is the banking system is cumbersome. It is going to change, and right now, you just need to get educated on what I call the basics of fiat currency, and the fact that the way money works right now, money gets created out of nothing. It's devaluing all the time, and almost any economist who knows anything is predicting that eventually there's going to be a crash happening in the not too distant future. So it's like anything, if at your peril, ignore change, and at the very least you should explore the option and look into it. I did that. When Bitcoin and cryptos first came out, I thought it was a big old scam, but I had clients come to me, I looked into it myself, researched it, and realised I was wrong. And the truth is, the only thing I know for certain in life is that I'm going to be wrong again many times in my life, because we're continuing to evolve. And I love what you said before about, the whole being upset about, what governments have been doing and these new opportunities. I think we're in a world where things are changing. I think people are moving into a world now where people are craving contribution. You've got people who vote Trump in just as an FU to the government, no other reason. I mean, why else would most people vote Trump in, as an example? People are doing crazy things, like Malcolm Turnbull got smashed recently over in recent elections, and it was mainly One Nations. And I mean, most people don't like Pauline Hanson,
but they're just basically saying we refuse to vote these other two imbecile parties. So you've got that going on, and it's going to be the same with the banks. People are like, no, we're not going to have banks give us like 0.1% interest. We're not going to have banks charge us big fees. We're not going to have banks manipulate our money and give all our data up to the government. We're going to do something different. It's the younger generation are less tolerant than us. But as I see it, if I just quickly simplified it, people under 30 are just don't tolerate it. They're just like, no, we're not going to put up with it. They're scared. But people 30 to 50, like around my age bracket, we don't like it and we're mad about it, but we tend to kind of be a little bit more compliant because we don't want to get in trouble. People over 50 tend to not want to change because they still want to believe that thing hasn't really changed. So I'm really saying to people, realise that that's what happens, and generally most of the time in our lives we get caught out with change. We wake up one day and the world has changed and we've lost money or we've been decimated. Don't do it this time. Really just have a look into it and not be caught out, because people will get badly hurt if they don't do that. That's the reality.
I always encourage people to question everything. Don't believe what the mass media tells you particularly, and we are in exciting times as far as the media is concerned, in that we're producing our own media now, and old media is looking to new media for story ideas. So it is exciting times. We are creating more of our own media, and we're not just being brainwashed, I would say, by certain media conglomerates anymore. Although people still need to have some awareness around that and question things that they see, particularly if they start seeing the same thing again and again and again in mainstream media. And same with the banking system. There's big changes, as you say. Move with the times. You're either ripe and growing, or no, green and growing, or ripe and rotting, right? Green and growing, or ripe and rotting. So that's awesome, Warren. And as I say, people just loved your talk then. You're very inspiring, and it's been fantastic to chat with you today. Any final words for our Facebook Live viewers?
Yeah, look, thanks for listening, and I really would encourage you to realise that the world is changing, and realising that right now the day is coming when governments in the world will run more on contribution. Taxes, I believe, will be lower, but I think right now we're in transition where governments, a bit like Kodak and people struggling to let go of the old. I think governments are doing that. They're afraid to let go of the old. They're terrified of becoming obsolete. And when people get afraid, they do crazy things when they've got power. So I think governments are going to come down harder than ever before. So just really make sure you're structured properly, you're prepared, and there's some prosperous times ahead, and you can not pay a lot of tax, and you can do very well with your cryptos and with life. Whereas not taking action now in your life, you could be really caught out in the next couple of years.
Fantastic. And your Facebook group again that people can join?
Crypto Tax Renegades. I've also got a group called The Awakening Within as well, if people are into more awakening and deeper stuff and some of the deeper truths of what's happening in the world. The Awakening Within. So there's Crypto Tax Renegades and The Awakening Within. Beautiful.
Love the titles. Thank you so much, Warren. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have been chatting to Warren Black here at the Block Conscious Summit in Brisbane. And it's fantastic to see all the live people here. We've got John, David, Heidi, Melanie, hello, Jeff, Brendan, Ag, Louisa, Adrian, Megan, Tula. Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. We have been talking outside the square here with Warren Black, and he just spoke at the Block Conscious Summit about how to stop the Taxman from hacking your crypto wallet. So connect with him on Facebook. Those pages again, Warren. We'll bring Warren into the...
Crypto Tax Renegades.
Crypto Tax Renegades.
And the other one is The Awakening Within.
The Awakening Within. They both sound awesome, and I'm going to be joining them after this. So come along with us and start questioning what you're hearing out there. Don't just be a slave to the system like so many people are.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah. Become sovereign.
Become sovereign, right. Excellent. Thank you so much, Warren. And thanks for watching. And if you've got any comments at all about this or want to add anything, we'd love to hear from you. Or if you want to help other people to become sovereign and awaken, then share this Facebook Live and comment on here. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a great day wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.